Ready at the start, the 6 finalists in the final of the men's 8s, with the champions of the past 2 years, the United States, occupying lane number 4. But as usual, we start our introductions on the far side in lane number 1, Romania. Outsiders in the men's competition, as opposed to favourites in the women's. Italy, with 6 of last year's crew in the boat that finished 5th. And then next to them, to their left, the crew that set a new world best time in much kinder conditions midweek. Holland, 5 minutes, 22.8, the new time. But they won't better that today. Nico Rinks, the man in the stroke seat, the man who guided Holland to Olympic gold in '96. And then the United States, the world champions, and somewhat unusually for an 8s race from one year to the next, exactly the same crew, man for man, that represented the USA a year ago in Germany. Then Russia. Russia just missed out on the medals, like the United States. Exactly the same 9 men in this boat as the crew that represented them a year ago in Germany. And finally, closest to you, Great Britain, with Steve Trapmore in the stroke seat, and sitting behind him, wearing the hat, Tim Foster, the man who used to be in the British 4, came back from back surgery, went into the 8, and he's made a big difference. But he'll have to make a big difference to overcome this crew, because these men from America are looking to make it 3 in a row.
Their coach, Mike Tady, has had a lot of criticism this year for keeping the crew together exactly as it was last year. But he stayed true to his men of last year, and they've gone off like scalded cats. Look at that. Difficult conditions, bit of rough water, but they're here to try and repeat something that the United States has never done before, and that's to try and win a gold medal 3 times in a row. But this crew on the inside here in lane 6, Great Britain moving very fluently here in these first 200 or 300 meters.
Well, you have to say, Dan, that Tim Foster's introduction into this British 8 has made a real difference. It makes a real difference, doesn't it? Having a winner, someone with experience in the crew.
Well, he's given them lots of rhythm in the stern seat, in the stern of the boat there. He's really helped them, and it showed in Switzerland, in Lucerne, where they got a silver medal there.
So the Americans with an advantage over Romania on the far side. And that's Chris Aarons in the stroke seat, Peter Cipollone, the coxswain, and this is really a hard outfit. Interesting, though, they haven't been into Europe. They've done all their work at home preparing for these championships.
Absolutely right. But headwind conditions, they're a big, strong crew, very powerful men on the ergometer machine. All of them there, around a 550 mark on the ergometer for 2,000 meters. Here they are out in front in headwind conditions, and they'll love this indeed.
They're the Romanians on the far side. They're going to find this a lot tougher than the women.
Oh, indeed. Lane 1 has not been too friendly today in these finals. The crew that is interesting are the Dutch, Holland. They don't really like a headwind. They're great in a tailwind. They broke that record on Wednesday, but I'm sure this is going to find them out a little bit. Their style of rowing is very suited to tailwind stuff, but I think they're going to have a real struggle in this race here into the headwind.
So America is through the first 500 meters and doing really well ahead of Great Britain. Then in 3rd place would be just about Romania right on the far side, who are actually holding up pretty well. But America now beginning to stretch a little bit as we focus on the British.
Great, they've been doing some really great racing this season, and you can just see there's a lovely easy movement to their racing. And they're sitting there just ahead of Russia, who beat them in Lucerne last month. They're just sitting up ahead there, and they're sitting in 2nd place behind the United States. But it's the United States now out in front, looking very powerful, very strong.
I think the important thing now for those who aspire to actually overturn the United States is that they've got to stay in touch. If they let the Americans get away, they'll be in real trouble now. Coming to the half distance now, it's still America who have the call. They've been in front right from the start. Great Britain would be just about in 2nd place by my book, with the Russians very, very close behind, followed by maybe Romania on the far side now. And the British just beginning to move a little closer.
Yep. But it's interesting how the Russian rate is so steady there. They're about 2 or 3 strokes a minute less than the 2 crews alongside them, but they and the Americans and the British have moved away from the other 3 crews, and it's now a race between these 3 for the medals. And there they are out in front, taking a quick look across, but Great Britain moving. Great Britain beginning to move up on the United States. in lane 6. Great Britain really moving well now in this middle section of the race. And if anything, they are beginning to move on the United States.
I'll tell you what, the money's down here, Dan, now. The British have decided to make a decisive move. The important thing is they've got to carry right through with this now. They can't falter. They've got to go all the way from here on in and accelerate through the Americans. But can they do it now? Past the boathouses now in that bow. There's Rowley Douglas, the British coxswain there, and he's really urging his men on. And I tell you what, to some purpose, because they really are getting close to the Americans now. They're gaining and they're gaining. When the picture becomes clear and we can see a comparison, you'll see how much closer the British have actually got to the American. They really are getting back on terms with them.
They're at 38, they've moved up to 38, and here in the third 500, they are moving. There's very little in it, the two black boats out here in front, and if anything, the British have they're just edging it now. They're just beginning to move in front. What can the United States do now? The United States, defending champions, hanging on. Are they out there in the middle of the crew? Are they beaten? It's now the British crew out in front. This is the first time that Britain has been in a winning position since 1912. They are there in front with only 750 metres to go.
I'm glad you said 1912, because I was already trying to think back how long ago was it since Great Britain actually won a gold medal. But now the Americans beginning to race. Chris Aarons has asked and his men are responding now, and it's now literally bow for bow. Rowley asked for a bit more, and America and Britain on either side there of the Russians. Boat number 5 there in bronze medal position at the moment now, but it's Britain being asked the question, the British crew being tested by the Americans, and the Americans are going now, and the Americans are beginning to regain the advantage, and the Russians, maybe they've got aspirations, but they've got almost a length to make up on the British. But now it's 250 metres to go, and the Americans are now sprinting. This is absolutely incredible. The Americans now just by a quarter of a boat, and they are really beginning to move away from the British.
A fantastic recovery there. They just popped it up to 42 strokes a minute, and Chris Aarons, what a man, what a stroke. He has moved that boat right back out in front again. They've gone right back through the British 8, and there they are now, half a length ahead, moving out to 3/4 of a length ahead. But Britain holding off Russia, and on the far side Romania still in the picture there, trying to get into bronze medal position. But it's the United States and Great Britain in second place. Russia trying to hold off Romania, and it's Romania trying to hold there. They're trying to get back on terms.
Just 4 strokes to the line now. America are nearly there. Britain on the near side. Russia still in third. And America have made it 3 in a row. And Cipolloni's already marching down the boat. What an amazing burst of speed in the last 400 metres of the race. Asked the question, and they had the answer.
Well, Tatey's decision there to keep with those same 9 men, what a great decision, completely justified, and United States champions again in 8s, their favourite event, as they cross the line 3/4 of a length in front of Great Britain, with Russia taking the bronze medal.